Welcome back to Dre's YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome to the team. This is episode 2 of our What is Investing series, where we are covering 7 different ways to invest. If you was with us last week, we went over what certificates of deposits are and a few pros and cons that you should consider before investing in a CD. And this week we are covering high yield savings accounts. Now, I know some of you are wondering, well, what's the difference between a regular savings account and a high yield savings account? Well, stay tuned because we'll be breaking down the main differences between the two. And if you're utilizing a regular savings account, by the end of this video, you'll probably consider upgrading to a high yield savings account. What is a high yield savings account? Well, first off, let's explain what yield is in financial terms. If this is the beginning of your journey to financial freedom, please understand that not all terms in the financial world mean exactly what you are used to it meaning. For example, instead of yield meaning to give away or surrender, in the finance world, it is what all investors are most interested in knowing. It is a calculation of how much money you are expecting to earn on your investment, also known as return in simple terms. So when you hear the phrase high yield savings account, just think about it as high return savings account. With that being said, what is a high yield savings account? A high yield savings account is basically just like a traditional savings account. However, high yield savings accounts can offer yields or returns nearly 10 to 20 times higher than a traditional savings account. According to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, also known as FDIC, as of November 2023, the national savings rate in regular savings accounts are 0.46%, while the savings rate in high yield savings accounts range from 5.33% up to 6.08%. See, fact of the matter is, banks and institutions are making money on every dollar you allow to sit in their possession. But the less knowledge you know, the less they have to pay you. So let's take a look at a savings calculator to give you more of a visual. If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I'll get back with you. Thank you. Starting from the Google home screen, we will just type in high yield savings account calculator. We will use this one on NerdWallet, being that it's normally super simple to use. We will use the same scenario based on the FDIC current return data for both types of savings accounts and see what our returns will be. So let's say we are starting off with $1,000 in an account and we'll be contributing, this just means adding, $50 per month for 4 whole years. With a traditional savings account, we will only be getting a 0.46% yield a year. So let's hit calculate. And we see that our $1,000 investment, while adding $600 a year, will give me a total return of $3,440 in 4 years. Now, let's do the same investment, but with a high yield savings account instead. If we started off with the same $1,000 deposit and added $50 every month for 4 entire years, but this time with a 5.33% yield, we would expect a return of $3,906 in 4 years. That is a $466 difference by making the same exact investment but using a different account. I will tell you something even more absurd. Most banks and institutions that offer traditional savings accounts also offer high yield savings accounts. It's just a matter of you knowing what type of account to establish. I must also warn you that many popular banks and institutions may try to haggle you down on your returns, so be sure to look for nonprofit organizations like credit unions to hopefully get the best bang for your buck. Moving forward, let's look at some pros and cons to investing with high yield savings accounts. One pro to investing with a high yield savings account, as we discussed, is receiving much more interest on the money you invest than you would with a traditional savings account. On top of that, the interest you are receiving is also being compounded, meaning the money you are making is also making money for you. And let's say, for example, if the economy begins to slow down and banks begin to collapse, your money will still be covered by the FDIC. A final pro to investing with high yields is that you can easily access your money. On the flip side, while interest rates in high yield savings accounts outperform traditional savings accounts by 10 to 20 times, the interest rates are not locked in. This means the rates can fluctuate throughout a range. Another con to consider is that even though your money is easily accessible to you, your bank may restrict the number of times you may withdraw from your account per month. Last but not least, inflation can eat away your profits, so be sure to compare your yields with inflation rates before you invest. Wrapping things up, we have now covered 2 low-risk investments that all beginning investors should be aware of. Last week, we went over what certificates of deposits are, and today we broke down what a high-yield savings account is and why you should consider them over traditional savings accounts. Please stay tuned for next week's episode where we will be taking a deep dive into bonds. Remember, I am just here to share some ingredients. It is up to you to create the recipe for your journey to financial freedom. See you soon.